Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, whatever time you're watching this, live or on demand. Welcome to our study of the book Courage by several spirit authors through the mediumship of Francisco Xavier. I'm Shane Martin. I'm here at the Spiritual Society of Richmond in Richmond, Virginia, in collaboration with Coragem Radio. Today we have chapter 16 by the Spirit Emmanuel, and he titled his chapter, If You Believe in God. Dear friends, do we believe in God? Do we really? So let's see, what should we do if we believe in God? With Emmanuel. As always, I'm going to start characterizing. There's only 6 paragraphs this time. The scientists like to categorize everything, so here we go. Here we have If You Believe in God by Emmanuel. If you believe in God, no matter how much pessimistic news about the future may threaten your path, you always keep your heart tranquil, being sure that the divine wisdom supports and always will support life's balance above all circumstances. If you believe in God, you will never feel lonely or sad because you'll be constantly linked with the universe, recognizing that the ties of love and hope identify you to all beings. If you believe in God, in your pathway, you will never experience revolt or desperation in the presence of slander and insults, as you will consider offenders and delinquents as unfortunate people who need much more of goodness and protection than bitterness and criticism. If you believe in God, you live on earth without opponents, and the more your aggressors or despisers multiply, you will consider enemies or opponents as our brothers and sisters who have different points of view. If you believe in God, you never lack in confidence or work because you rise every day in certainty that you possess the blessed opportunity to communicate with others, enjoying the insensate privilege of helping, blessing, understanding, and serving. If you believe in God, you live without affliction or fear, regardless of however much danger or risky situations may appear obscuring your way. Even in the presence of death, you will recognize that you remain with God as much as God is always with you, despite the trials, darkness, limitations, and changes in the plenitude of eternal life. Unquote. Emmanuel. Do we believe in God? So, what are we doing when we seek pessimistic views? And some people do seek pessimistic views, or when we have pessimistic news. When we feel lonely or sad, when we encounter when we encounter slander and insults. I'm making some notes so we can analyze it together. When we have aggressors or despisers. If we believe in God, what do we do when we lack confidence? And if we believe in God, there will be no affliction. Did it resonate with you? Such a beautiful message. So he says here, no matter how much pessimistic news about the future might threaten your path, You always keep your heart tranquil. Because when we are sure that divine wisdom is supporting us and always will support life's balances. So when we are constantly bombarded with the end is near, then we can say, God is in charge. Jesus is at the helm. But it takes practice. And that's why we're here every week listening to this. Because the superior spirits, need to repeat this to us every day so we know what to do. If we believe in God, you will never feel lonely or sad. We have, in our past, felt lonely or sad, haven't we? But he says, if you believe in God, you will never feel lonely or sad because you're constantly linked with the universe. Recognizing that the ties of love and hope identify you with all beings. We are connected to one another. You're not going to be, don't misunderstand me. He's not saying you're going to become the whole. That's not what's going on. Because after this reincarnation, life goes on and you're going to find yourself in the spiritual realm with your spirit and your paraspiritual body as yourself, unique as God created you. But you are linked to others. We are linked to others. When we feel, when we think, when we do, we are choosing the linkage or the connection. So if I'm watching the pessimistic news from the paragraph above, and oh my God, the end's gonna need, I'm linking myself through thought, mental particles, enter in resonance with other like-minded folks. That's why we see the collective anxiety and desperation around the earth, because we're not trained to shield ourselves from that, to stop, breathe, think before we say, before we do, so we can be wiser. Nobody taught us when we were in school. Thank God the schools of today teach better. But we need to train ourselves to do that. We are constantly linked with the universe. We are linked to our spirit mentors and guides, to our discarnate relatives who are in the other realm helping us, preparing to reincarnate to help us. We are linked to the discarnate friends who stay in the spiritual realm longer than we are, who can also help. We are linked to all the beings who are thinking the same thing that we do. Go to the book Foreign Life and go to the book Mechanisms of Mediumship by Andrea Louise, Foreign Life by Emmanuel. So if I'm linked to all of them, I'm never alone. So it's recognize that the ties of love and hope identify you to all of the beings. The beings who live on the earth, incarnate and discarnate, in all of the spheres, in the lower zones, all the way to the higher colonies, to the planets around us, to the moons around us, to the other solar systems around us, to the galaxies next door, figuratively, to the entire universe. So you are connected to the whole humanity. He says, if you believe in God in your pathway, you'll never experience revolt or desperation in the presence of slander and insults. Sometimes we are victims of slander and insults. As you will consider offenders and delinquents as unfortunate people who need much of goodness than bitterness and criticism. So we start seeing those who offend us. And it's similar to the next paragraph where he talks about the more your aggressors despise and multiply, you consider the enemies or opponents are brothers and sisters with different points of view. So when someone is criticizing us, it's hard not to give an eye for an eye, right? But if we consider them as people who need help, who need protection, we can mentally send that help, that protection, that love, thinking of good, praying for them. Easier said than done again, but it's possible. Because Jesus, our guide and model, Nowhere in the Bible, in the New Testament, in the letters, in the books of Anil Lúcio and Humberto de Campos, we see that Jesus um, criticized or was bitter against his enemies, right? So it's possible he came to show us. If you believe in God, you never lack in confidence. Sometimes we're not confident that we can fulfill God's will on this planet to be the chosen vessel. But we are. God put us in this earth for a specific time, for a specific reason, so that we have a mission to do. He says, because you rise every day in the certainty that you possess the blessed opportunity to communicate with others, enjoying the incessant privilege of helping, blessing, understanding, and serving. So, how did we wake up today? Knowing that within my shortcomings, I'm able to speak with you, I'm able to listen to you, I have full mental capacity, I can move my limbs, I can do what I do for work and for others at home and here. Then I have confidence that God gave me those tools so that I can be of service, not for selfish reasons, but to serve. And last but not least, he says, if you believe in God, you will live without affliction and fear. Wouldn't that be great? Regardless of how much danger or risky situations may appear in your way. Even in the presence of death. Now, physical death, right? Life continues. Your physical body will perish, but your spiritual body and your spirit will remain. You recognize that you remain with God as much as God is always with you. God, I'm going to repeat, you will recognize that you remain with God as much as God is always with you, despite the trials, darkness, limitations, and changes, in the plenitude of eternal life. God remains with you as much as He's always with you, in spite of everything. So we are never alone. We are blessed with this opportunity to be together this morning, reflecting in God's love for us. If you want to know more, in the Genesis by Kardec, you can read all about God and divine providence. Dear friends, that's all we've had for today. A lot, right? 6 paragraphs. It took us some time. It could take us a whole hour to digest. But let's remember, God is in us as much as with us all the time. What a blessed day to be together. God willing, I'll return next week with another chapter from the book Courage. Until then, stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.